Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 9 of Direwolf20's Space Engineers series. I've been a little bit busy, in case you guys hadn't noticed. Basically, I went mining a bunch, and with that giant new mining ship, I told you guys I would have a lot of ores coming home to be smelted and refined and all that good stuff. In fact, so much so that I really needed more refineries. So I went and made some. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in total now. Nice. So that's pretty cool. I haven't expanded my assembler bay yet, but I'm probably going to do that relatively soon. But if we take a look at our refineries, we should see, okay, cool, they're almost done. Just a little bit more uranium coming in from a couple of these guys, and they should be wrapped up pretty soon, though I do believe my arc furnace probably has a lot of cobalt left. That's the same cobalt from, like, before last episode. So, just refresher, cobalt takes a long time to refine. But that's okay. So yes, what are we up to today? Well, I mentioned I want to start building a base, but before I do that, I want to have a good handle on how much stuff I've got. As a result of all the ores that I went and mined in my giant mining vessel, I had to add some cargo containers here. So if we take a look in our inventory, we will see that this small cargo container is completely full of ores. And so is this one. You can see the volume, full. So we have lots of ores, apparently. And if we look in this one, we'll see, oh my goodness, he's actually almost full. I was not aware that this thing was almost full. But yeah, that should give you a clear indication of how much mining I've done between episodes. Like, a lot. Gravel is something that you guys are going to quickly realize is kind of a nuisance, and we're going to have to come up with a nifty and smart way to get rid of all the excess gravel we have, because we have a ton of it. And to be honest with you, it's really not used for much. It's refined from stone. Of course, there's like tons of stone everywhere, and it's really not used for a lot. I think really the only recipe that it needs gravel, let's see, I think it's just reactor components, right? So let's see, magnesium, nickel, no gravels here, no gravels here, magnesium powder, magnesium. Magnesium is usually used in something that's a weapon, so like rockets and guns and stuff. Gravel, reactor components, like that's it. Like, end of story. We're like, no further discussions there. Gravel is used for reactor components, and that's it. So that's something we're gonna have to deal with eventually. It's just one of the regular nuisances, and there's no, like, item like a trash can. But there are ways to get rid of it, and we will be checking that out eventually. Today, though, I'd like to get a handle on what I've got in my inventories, because, as you can see, like, I've got this inventory that's about a third of the way full of all the cool gadgets and components that I need. This guy here, all my ores and ingots, and then my ore backlog currently empty, obviously, because it already finished refining. It literally took me like over an hour to refine all the ingots that I brought home with me, with all these refineries. So that should give you an idea what kind of time frame we're talking about. But let's get started taking a grasp on things. So today, I'd like to introduce you guys to something that I think is really cool, the programmable block. This is a very cool block, and before you get all nervous about, programming, don't worry. There's literally zero amounts of programming that you're going to need to do if you want to use this block in an effective manner. If you like programming, by all means, feel free. Like, go to town. There's some really cool stuff you can do with the programmable block. I do not have as good a grasp around C#, which is the programming language of use in this game. So basically, I don't write any of my own code, because I mean, I've written like 2 or 3 very basic things just to get a handle on what you can do, but frankly, there's people on the Steam Workshop who are way better at C# than I am, so they wrote a bunch of cool scripts and I use them, and that's how it works. So we're going to take a look at some of them today. So don't worry about programming. There's no programming in this episode. We will not be writing code. We will simply be using other people's code. So let's take a look at the programmable block before we get started here. I'm just going to charge up my energy and take a look at what's in here. So if we look in the block, we can see there's a couple options, whether or not it's on, whether it's shown in the terminal, all the standard stuff that you see in the name. I'm going to name this programmable block LCD, and you'll see why in a moment. Whether or not it's shown on HUD, we know that. So when you hit the edit button, it will open up the code editor. And you can see it starts you off with a basic little function here. Like I said, we're not going to be writing any code. What I'm going to do is browse the Steam Workshop. And in my collection, there are several really useful scripts that exist. Easy API is a neat one that makes it a little bit easier to write your own code. Honestly, I've barely touched it because, like I said, I don't really write much of my own code. There's a bunch of other neat things in here that we'll probably be checking out throughout the series. However, today's one that we're going to take a look at is configurable automatic LCDs. Double click on that, and you're done. You've finished writing all your code. That's it. Game over, finished, done, no more problems. So we're going to hit check code. This actually is a mislabeled button. It's actually compile code. You must click on check code before you do anything because it compiles it and verifies that it's good. So browse the workshop, click on the one you want to do, check code, remember and exit, game over, finished, over, done, we're happy, right? So if we run this code, nothing happens because this code does something very cool. It can, because computers have the ability to do this, read all the information about all the blocks on the station or ship that it's connected to. So it can, if written to do so, read the information about these things, those things, all these things over here, and all this stuff around here. It can also do some manipulation, like you can turn on and off blocks. Pretty much almost anything you can do in a control panel can be done by a programmable block. And this is all vanilla. Nothing that you're seeing right now is mod related. So the programmable block and everything. The only thing that we got off the Steam Workshop for this was the code, but like that's code that's written in the vanilla programming block thing, so there's nothing modded about this. So let's see what we can do with this program that I just imported in. This is a program written by M Master. He's written a bunch of really cool things and some mods that we'll be checking out. So he's written mods and programs for the programmable block. And what this allows you to do is read information about all the blocks on your station and output information to one of these guys. Boom, an LCD panel. Now LCD panels are cool. When you place them down, it'll have the word online written. That's how you know it's the right way up. If it's the wrong way up, go ahead and grind it down and rotate it to the point where it says online. Cool? And I'm gonna go ahead and weld this dude into place. And this LCD panel is going to be updated by the programmable computer with some really cool stuff. So let's take a look at what we can do with it. All right, so I'm going to open up the LCD panel block here, and there's a few things we're going to want to do. First off, the name must contain bracket LCD in the name. That's how the computer knows that this LCD panel should be updated by the computer. So that's just step one. Always do that. Second, we're going to want to set the public title to use text commands. Okay, and then we're going to go down here, show text on screen public, and there's a couple other options. We can change the font color, the background color, and the font size, and you can also do images on these, by the way. We'll take a look at that probably a little bit later. So the font size that I find to be pretty useful is 0.7 for a lot of this stuff. We might increase it or decrease it depending on the information we want to show on the screen. Cool. So now that we've done that, right, public text, we've said use text commands. We want to edit the private text. So there's two types of text you can have on here, public or private. We want to edit the private text, and this is what's going to get the computer basically reads what's written in the private text field, and it's going to go ahead and update the public text field based on what you put here. So for example, if I want to see details about the reactors on my base, I would type power. Okay, that's it. Done. Now if we go into our program here and hit run, we will see that it updated the LCD with the reactors and their current usage. So we can see overall our reactors have the capability of outputting 15 megawatts. We're currently outputting 447. And if we check our small reactor, that's pretty much right. And it also gives us a nice little breakdown in terms of usage. So it's about 3% of what it's capable of outputting. Now, if we had more things running, so for example, if I went over here to the gravity generator and turned it off, and then we ran the program again, boom, we can see it decreased, right? So that's pretty cool. But there's more. Remember, I said I wanted to see what we've got by way of ingots. So there's a couple things we can do with that. Let's take a look at the inventory program. So let's go down here. We're going to edit private text, and instead of power, I'm going to say inventory, if I could type. Okay, that's it. We're going to modify this in a moment, but you can see that inventory shows you all kinds of stuff, right? Way more than can be displayed on the screen here. So I'm going to modify this, and I'm going to change it to be inventory S. And I believe what this does is prevent the ORS summary from being shown at the top. So if I run this again, we'll see, all right, that looks a little bit better. Cool. Now, if I want to filter what's shown on there, I don't want to show all the stuff in my base. So I'm going to just do, let's see, I'm going to say plus ingot. And what that's going to tell is show me only details about the ingots that I have at my base. So let's see if that's correct. Oh, you know what? I think what I want to do is hit the star here. So inventory S star plus ingot. And that will tell it to read everything everywhere. There we go. Nice. So that's your ingot summary. How cool is that? So we can see at a glance how much we have. And you'll notice that built into the program, there's a limit to each amount. So it's saying, like, try to tell me about 100,000 iron ingots, about 80,000 nickel. So we can see we're actually pretty low on a few things. Silver, gold, platinum, and uranium, we don't have a ton of ingots around. If I wanted to change this, so for example, uranium, if I only wanted that to be about 1K, I think what I say here is uranium colon 1000. Okay, let's see if I did that right. Run. Cool. So what that did is showing me both ores and ingots. So I'm going to actually edit this again and say edit private text. I think it should be then ingot / uranium 1000. Is that right? Let's see if I'm correct. There we go. So now you'll see that it's only looking for about 1,000 uranium, which is pretty cool. So usually these numbers aren't terrible. I can leave them as they are, or I can adjust them however I want. So if I wanted to modify what the outputs are, we easily could. Now, if we want, we can also look at components. So this is pretty neat too. So let's take a look at our component list. Now, I'm going to go ahead and modify this one. So we're going to edit private text, and instead of ingots, we're just going to remove this. We're going to keep the inventory. I'm just going to get rid of the S. We're going to do plus component. Let's say 100 components, so 100 of everything. And then we'll also say plus steel plates 1,000. Okay. Now when I run the program, boom, it's going to show me a component summary. How cool is that, right? So you can see we're saying I want to have about 100 of every component and tell me using those progress bars how I'm at. So you can see construction components. I have 300 out of the 100 I want to have. So it's showing the progress bar is full, right? Metal grids, I've got 20 out of 100. So it's showing the progress bar about 1/5 of the way up, right? And throughout the rest. And we also said steel plates. I think I said I want 1,000. I might have to modify that a little bit. Edit private text, steel plate maybe. And there we go. So we've got 1.5K out of the 1K we wanted. Pretty cool stuff, right? So we can easily show on our screens what we've got going on the base. And you might be saying, Dyer, this is great, but you have to constantly run over here and hit run all the time? No, of course not. There's a better way to do that with the timer block. So timer blocks can be configured to run computer scripts. Cool, right? So let's weld this guy up. I'm a little bit short on construction components, but it's enough to run. So I'm going to go into this timer block configuration. We're going to set it to a delay of 1 second. And we're going to set up the following actions. Step 1, the programmable LCD program, we're going to run it. We don't need to pass any arguments in for this, but those are command line arguments. And then, because I want this to repeatedly run, I'm going to take this timer block that we've got here, and we're going to set it to start. Okay? And I'll probably do timer block. I'll just name it timer program LCD. Cool. Now if we go in here, we should see this updated, right? Timer program LCD. So what'll happen is every second, it'll run the code and then start the timer over. A second later, run the code and start the timer over. A second later, run the code and start the timer over. So let's hit start. Cool. So now if I were to, for example, decide, you know what, I need some more large tubes. Let's produce 40 more of them. I'm going to go into the production tab and I'm going to say 40 large steel tubes. Watch the numbers. 66, 69, 75, 82. So this LCD is constantly updated. Every time the timer block starts, the program runs, and it updates the LCD for me. How cool is that? So I'm out of displays. Let's make 100 of them. Nice. So I can easily keep track of all the stuff I've got. So I might want another LCD panel. Let's say, can I get one on top here? I need construction components, computers, displays, and bulletproof glass. Should have some of that. So we'll get some displays. One about that many of you. Some bulletproof glass. And I think there were computers in there or something like that. I forget already. Cool. So this guy's online. We're going to weld him up. And since I've got the extra stuff now, I can finish up those construction components. Not that it matters. So again, to update this guy, we're going to put LCD in the name. And we're going to go down here. We'll say use text commands in the public title. Use text commands. We're going to make sure we're showing public text on the screen, and then the private text. This one I want to do the inventory for the ingots again. So I'm going to do inventory S star ingot. Sweet. Look at that. How cool is that? I like it. And then as the ingots are used up, we'll see them getting used up. So for example, if I went down here and said I want 80 more metal grids, okay, we should see iron, nickel, and cobalt kind of decreasing a little bit. So nickel's going down. So we can see a nice up-to-date screen of everything that we've got going on in the base. I think that's pretty awesome. I hope you guys do too, because you're going to be seeing more of these automated LCDs. And there's a ton of stuff you can see. If you check on the Steam page where this code is, and you can see it in my collection, just go to the collection, click on automatic LCD script. There's a help page that's about like 20 pages long, listing all the crazy stuff you can actually see in there. You can see inventory lists, cargo, power. You can see charges for things like jump drives. You can see block counts. You can see just a ton of things. Oxygen we haven't talked about yet. Date and time even. Like there's just pretty much a lot you can see about your base. What I'm actually going to do is go in here and I want to add power to this. So I have inventory S. I think if I put power here and hit OK, it should update with the reactors. Cool. And I might want to have a space in between, so in order to get that, I think I just put echo here. There we go. So echo is a space. By the way, if you want to have something written there, you can echo hello YouTube, I think. Yes, haha, cool. How neat is that, right? But for now, I'm just going to leave the echo blank. I might have 2 lines and then the power. Cool. Look at that. By the way, this guy's font size is 1, so that works a little bit. Obviously, the long list of construction components and whatnot, font size 7 is better. If this were on font size 1, it wouldn't fit all on the screen, but the ingot summary here isn't terrible. We could shrink it down a little bit. Maybe I'll go like 0.9, give it a little bit more space, and you'll see it'll kind of automatically adjust itself, which is another nice feature of the code that Master wrote. So if I put it like 0.5, it'll eventually expand everything out a little bit, but we'll keep it like 0.8-ish, I think. Nice. So as you can see, I'm really low on nickel, which is actually something I need pretty badly. Silver, we're pretty weak on. Gold, we're pretty weak on. Even though I went mining for gold, I think I used a lot of it, apparently. I don't know how that's even possible, but I did. And then platinum I don't have any of. I haven't even seen. That's a pretty rare resource. Luckily, it's not terribly commonly used. It is used for thruster components, though. And uranium, we're all right. So I'll come back in a minute here because I would like to consider if I'm going to do another automation or if I'm going to start building the little base that I want to build. So one more thing I want to mention about this LCD program. This is technically a script, not a mod. So if you search in Steam for something and you go to mods, it won't be listed there. You have to actually search for scripts. It's just one of the categories that you can search for. It is part of the collection, but it is technically not a mod. It is just a script for the programmable blocks. The other thing to note is every now and then updates for this come out, so keep an eye on that. They won't be automatically updated like most of your mods. What you have to do is if an update comes out, you just have to go into the program here, hit edit, browse workshop, double click on it again, it'll grab the latest version, and then check code and remember and exit, and then you're good to go. So very easy to use, very, very useful, because it's a nice way to keep track of, you know, how much power we're using and how many ingots and whatnot. All right, like I said, back in a moment. So by the way, in case you weren't clear on the difference between inventory and inventory S, you'll see it here. With inventory, it's showing you the ingots, so you can see cobalt, and then on the right it tells you how much ore you have of that type. So I've got some backlogged cobalt and iron that's waiting to be processed in my arc furnace, and if we check our inventory, our arc furnace will probably confirm that. Cool. But if you don't want that, just add that capital S to the end of inventory here. And then it won't show that ore thing. It'll only show you the ingots that you have. Cool. One more thing you can do, by the way, just because I'm showing you. If we put X or XS, I believe it is, boom, it'll modify things a little bit there as well. Neat, right? Actually, I think what we want is XS. Nice, right? So a couple different things you can do, but I personally like the way this one works. All right, guys, we're back, and as you can see, I've just connected my connector here. So if we check our inventory, we'll see that we've got a little bit of bulletproof glass and pretty much all the steel plates that I had, because I wanted to keep about 8,000 in there, and we've only got about 1,000, but for now, that'll work. So let's jump into this mode here, make sure our guys are on, and start welding up some stuff. So I'm not gonna kill myself for this. Nice. So I'd like to expand my assembler lines before I get to the point where I'm ready to start building my base. So I kind of said I was going to do that this episode, but right now I'd like to expand the amount of assemblers I have. So I want to do two things. One, I'd like to kind of like move my assemblers right now over to this line. So I want to have assemblers running off in this direction, which means I should probably move this ship at some point. We'll just fly him over here. I will eventually have a docking bay where I can dock all my small ships that I'm using, or in this case not using right now, but for now we're all right. Let's also get our welder moved over here as well. We'll get this guy moved in a moment. There he is. So with my assemblers, whatever I do here, I want to make sure is repeatable, right? So if we take a look at where the inputs and outputs are, there should be one on the top and bottom of this dude. And if we get underneath, yes, there is one underneath it. Cool. So let's do this. I'm going to put this assembler here, and then we can connect our piping on the bottom, and it will also be able to connect on the sides. So let's get our welding ship, which I just docked up, basic welder 1, because he's the one that has everything that's not he has pretty much everything, right? So we're still going to use him for some things, because the other ship, really his only purpose is for building rooms, so he's going to be another type of ship. Cool. So you're on, off. Cool. I must not have something I need. Thought I did. What am I short on? Oh no, I'm good. I just need more computers. Oh, and I can probably put my uranium away. Or maybe I was short on steel plates in there. That's also a possibility. Yeah, why didn't you want to weld? Are you short on steel plates or something? Yeah, that's what it was. You were short on steel plates. So you're a faster welder than my player anyway. So get in there and weld. Nice. Turn this off. Now, temporarily, I'm going to place a block here. Or at least I thought I was until I remembered I don't have steel plates. Just going to get as many as I can for the time being. The reason I want to do that is I need to break the block here, so that we can get a conveyor belt into this thing. I guess technically he's also... Let me... And then I can pick that up. Technically he's also attached here, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem, but, you know, you want to be safe. So then we will grab our connector here. We will do 5, and then we will do... Pretty sure that I lined this up properly. Should have checked this before I started recording, but pretty sure. Nice. Cool. All right. So let me go weld this guy up. So basic welder 1, remote control. You might be a little bit shy on some steel, but that's okay. I can't wait till I have like upgraded everything and I have tons of resources I don't have to worry so much about. Okay, so let's see what I'm short on, and I'll just do this rest by hand. Probably construction components, that's what I need a ton of. Everything else, construction components? Yep, pretty much. Just a ton of construction components and a few small steel tubes. Luckily, those are pretty easy to carry a lot of. but I'm going to want some more. Now, there's a very specific purpose I have in mind, and it relates to automation. So we'll come back in a minute once I've welded all these. And I think what I'm also going to do is get the upgrades on this thing so it crafts a little bit faster. And then we'll be back. All right, guys, and we're back. I've just built 3 assemblers in total. So we've got 1, 2, 3 assemblers here, and we've still got the original 2 here. Now, these 3 are going to do something very special for me. They're going to be automated assemblers. That's the plan. So let's turn off our welder and actually have him back up a little bit. That should be sufficient. You stay up there. So these guys are going to be automated. And how are we going to automate them? Well, with another nifty piece of programming. So this is another program that will do another set of automating. So let's get our programming block and our timer again, because we're going to need another one of those. And let me get ready to hook this guy up. Alright guys, let's look at how we can automate assemblers. And I know things are looking a little bit crowded and ugly right now, but don't worry, I'll clean them up later. For now, I'm going to grab another programming block. We're going to edit the program, and we're going to browse the workshop for a nifty program here, crafting components quotas. Cool. Check code, looks good, remember and exit, done deal. We have finished using all the programming that we're going to need to use for now. So this is a neat little program. Let's check it out. So first off, we will name this programmable-crafter. Okay. We will go over here to the LCD panel. We'll call it LCD-crafter. And that way we'll know that. Now, if we want to have information shown here. So we're going to modify... actually, we're going to change the name of this. It's not going to be LCD. We're going to name it Quota Text Panel. Pretty sure that's correct. All right. Let's see if that works. If I go in here and hit run, didn't update yet, but let's see. Silly Dyer, I did everything right. It was just set to show text on screen to be none. I wanted that to be show text on screen to be public. And suddenly things. Awesome. So let's shrink this font size down to like 0.8. That looks good. So these are the quotas for how many items you want to produce, right? So I can go in here and I can modify this. So I'm going to edit public text and I can just change this. So let's say like 1,000. I'm going to modify all these. I'm going to make them like 100 for now of everything. And we can change this as time goes by. So let me just adjust all these numbers. Steel plates, we'll probably want like 1,000. I'm actually going to make construction components 500. Girders can be 100, etc. Oh, I was wrong about something. If we edit the code here, really simple, guys. There's this one line under the config section that right here says, do you want to have the script automatically get the quota from the name of the assembler? We're going to say false. Okay, remember an exit, run. And now I have to update these again. So there we go. By editing the text on the control panel here, you're able to edit what the quotas are for how many items you want to keep on hand at all times. Pretty cool. Now there's one limitation, which is very unfortunate. You cannot, with a programmable block, adjust in the assembler the production queue. You just can't. There's no way to do it. So how does this work then? So let me show you. It's actually pretty slick. What you do is first you go over to one of the assemblers and you need to put into the name of the assembler what you want it to make. So for example, I'm going to call this steel plates. Okay, and you can check on the Steam page for this to determine how this works. The other thing we're going to do is toggle this block off. Okay, and the way this program works is basically each assembler has to exist for each component that you want to automatically craft. So you need an assembler for steel plates, you need an assembler for construction components, you need an assembler for computers, for motors, right? And then what we're going to do is go into the production tab here for the assembler steel plates, and I'm going to tell it to make like 5 of them. And one of these checkboxes, instead of cooperative mode, we're going to put this on repeat mode. And basically, it's going to constantly, repeatedly make these, right? Over and over and over again. In fact, I probably just need... I'm going to put 5 in. I think that's just going to make it run a little bit faster, and I'll show you why in a minute. Cool. So let's go over here to our timer, and we're going to adjust this timer to be 1 second, set up actions. We're going to say, let's actually rename this timer dash, what did I name the other one? Okay, cool. Timer dash autocraft. Cool. And then your actions will be programmable crafter, run, and timer autocraft start. Cool. And now I can start this guy, and he should start running. And what he should do is detect that we don't have enough steel plates. So he automatically turned on this block, the steel plates block. And you'll see in the production line for steel plates that he's just running over and over again. Cool. If there was only one in here, by the way, what would probably wind up happening is it would start and stop a lot. So by having about 5, you're in good shape. Now, if we check on our production line here, we'll see that steel plates, we're slowly improving how many we have. We're up to 1,800 steel plates. Nice, right? So what we should then see is that this program will constantly check, and once we hit the quota for steel plates, aka 2,000 of them, it should go over to this block and turn it off. Cool. So if we go to the control panel here, we'll see it's still currently on. We'll see the inventory running. It's doing a great job producing steel plates. See, it's kind of toggling on and off, so what I might want to do, assembler steel plates. Let's bump this up to like 10 maybe. Hopefully that'll keep the right amount of iron in at all times. So see how it was toggling on and off before and now it's not anymore? So that's what you kind of have to do. Otherwise it won't pull enough iron to be able to keep running as fast as we want it to. Now if we come down here, where are we at with steel plates? We're at 1950, so we're almost at that 2,000 number. So let's keep an eye on this guy for a second. 1962. Dun 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 dun. I'm getting a little bit excited. 1980. So you can see I love automation. And the programmable blocks make it very easy to automate stuff, right? So 1994, once we hit 2000 here, we should see that we're done. And if we come over to this guy, we'll check the control panel, right? Check it out. Block is currently off. Nice. And if we go to the steel plate screen, we'll see it's stopped producing them. How cool is that? If I come down here, or if I attach one of my welders and I say, you know what, give me this many steel plates. Okay, the program should automatically turn it back on and automatically produce a few more steel plates for me. Nice, look at that. It automatically turned this on, produced steel plates, and then turned it off. Cool, right? So let's do the same for bulletproof glass, because I want to have a lot of that as well. I want to have about 1,000 of those on hand at all times. So this guy, I'm going to come down here and rename him to be bulletproof glass. So we will call him assembler bulletproof glass. I think that's what it is. It might need to be a lowercase p. But like I said, on the Steam panel page thing, cool. So we'll say off. See how it turned on automatically? That's because the computer is doing that. Then we just go over to production panel. We're going to put this on repeat mode, 10 bulletproof glass, and we should see him running. Nice. How cool is that? I like it. I like it a lot. I think my actual main assemblers might also be making bulletproof glass. Oh, you know what? That's not what I want. Hold on. Turn off repeat mode here. Assembler bulletproof glass. Repeat mode. That was just a dire derp, don't mind me. Cool. Now it makes sense. There we go. Assembler bulletproof glass is producing it. And then when we get to 1,000, it should stop. And the other thing I probably want is girders. So how many girders did I tell it? 100? That's fine. We'll leave that for now. So what I'll probably do between this episode and next is expand this assembler line here and just start adding more things. So I'll probably want to auto-produce a few other things like computers and small steel tubes and large steel tubes and motors. And by the time we're done here, what we will eventually wind up with is the ability to auto-craft everything that we want. However, for now, it's the old wrapping up point for the episode, I'm sorry to say. But remember, just so you remember how things work, right? Real quick. Make sure the computer is running at all times using the timer, right? So timer starts the computer and then starts itself again. We've got the LCD panel for this program, which is totally separate from this one, which is automatically crafting. So this program showing us the components that we have and everything. And I'll eventually update these numbers to reflect these numbers so that they'll kind of match. But this shows us how we're doing with our stuff. This is set for auto crafting stuff. Okay, and if we wanted to increase this, so for example, if I wanted 2,500 steel plates, I just do that and hit OK, and it should automatically kick on the steel plate producer, and we should see it starting to produce more again. Cool, right? I love it. So once this is all set up, we'll never have to manually start crafting stuff again. However, I'm going to leave these guys here for manual crafting purposes, because what I'll probably want to do is eventually, like, we'll have the automatic producers going, but they're going to be a little bit slow. Say I used up a whole bunch of steel plates and we were waiting for that one to produce, I could ask these guys that are cooperating with each other to help him out, right, and just manually request it. Or if I want to craft something, I'll probably not make auto crafters for things I don't need a ton of right now, like gravity generators and medical components. Like, there's no reason to set up auto crafters for that. So, you know, maybe they'll be crafted over here every now and then as well. For now, though, it is beyond the wrapping up point for the episode. So Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Lots of cool automation today. Got to play with programming the computers. I hope you guys weren't scared by the programming stuff, because there's no programming involved. You just go ahead and use somebody else's code, which is, like, you know, awesome. So yeah, Direwolf20 signing off. Take it easy.